Interstate travel expected to be permitted from October. No orders on revoking driver's license based on age. Hello and good evening. Thanks for joining us. You're watching news at 10. I'm Shuhaida Arifin. The Royal Malaysian Police (PDRM) has opened investigation papers on the alleged leak of personal data belonging to millions of Malaysians through a government platform under the purview of the National Registration Department (JPN). Bukit Aman Commercial Crime Investigation Department (CCID) Director Datuk Muhammad Kamarudin Maddin said a police report was lodged by JPN at Precinct 7 Police Station in Putrajaya yesterday.
Kita dah menerima satu laporan polis lah yang telah dibuat dan kemudian tu siasatan telah kita jalankan di bawah Seksyen 4 Berita 1 atas jenah komputer 1997 lah bagi untuk kita nak mengesahkan tentang sama ada berlaku penggodaman atau tidak lah sistem daripada Jabatan Pendaftaran Negara ataupun sistem daripada lembaga hasil dalam negeri. Kita akan jalankan siasatan dan kita nak sahkan di mana kebocoran itu berlaku lah.
Datuk Kamarudin did not rule out the possibility of involvement from individuals within the organisations. At the same time, his department will study the report prepared by JPN's IT department thoroughly to find the cause of the leak. Cyber investigation team has been set up with the cooperation of the National Cybersecurity Agency, NACSA, and the Communications and Multimedia Commission, MCMC. Meanwhile, the Inland Revenue Board, LHDN, has denied the leak, saying all data and information in its care is protected by recognized security technology. There have been no orders or plans to instruct senior citizens aged over 70 to return their driver's license. Transport Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Wee Ka Siong insisted that the matter was never discussed, let alone adopted as a ministry stance. The ministry also does not plan on amending existing laws and acts.
Tak pernah. Kerana kompetensi berlainan macam yang berhormat Langkawi, beliau dapat memandu dengan baik, jauh lebih baik daripada orang yang gila-gila bawa kereta di atas jalan raya. Ini tidak boleh ada diskriminasi bagi mereka yang umur 70 tahun. Jadi sebab itulah saya kata ini bukan pendirian MOP. Dan kita tak berhajat pun tukar kerana kompetensi itu bukan berdasar kepada faktor umum. Dan kita juga lihat banyak sebab yang menyebabkan kemalangan ini berlaku.
Previously, Datuk Seri Dr. Wee informed that revoking or restricting license of individuals based on their ages should only be used as a last resort. Instead, their efficiency and capacity to drive well should be determining the factor tested via a recognized examination. A total of 13 camps under the National Service Training Programme (PLKN) have been converted into satellite prisons in a bid to reduce congestion and COVID-19 infections in prisons nationwide. Deputy Home Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Ismail Muhammad Said said the satellite prisons were to isolate new inmates before being transferred to main prisons.
Penjara sementara ini telah diwaltakan di bawah Seksyen 3 Akta Penjara 1995 dan sebagai admission prison. Statistik Jabatan Penjara Malaysia sehingga 25 Ogos 2021 menunjukkan jumlah keseluruhan banduan di penjara adalah seramai 69,507 orang yang mana telah melebihi kapasiti sebenar sejumlah 61,242.
Datuk Seri Dr. Ismail said the cumulative figure for COVID-19 positive cases among convicts and prison staff was 51,123, including 9 infants. He added that the department had set up transit centres at prisons to house convicts and those under remands who pose minimum security risks by taking into account the need for isolation based on admission dates. The domestic travel bubble destinations Pulau Tioman and Genting Highlands scheduled to reopen on 1st October will be postponed until further notice. The decision was made following the government's ruling of 90% vaccination rate among Malaysian adults before state borders nationwide are open to the public. According to Tourism Pahang General Manager Kamaruddin Ibrahim, for now, the travel bubble is open only for Pahang residents with strict SOP.
Maklumkan bahawa 3 destinasi di negara kita menjadi destinasi gelembung pelancongan selepas Langkawi, iaitu Genting, Pulau Tioman dan Melaka sendirilah. Selepas daripada itu, mesyuarat khas ataupun dipanggil sidang khas MKN yang dipengungsikan oleh Yang Berhormat Perdana Menteri meminta agar tempoh untuk pembukaan gelembung ini ditangguhkan sementara ke satu tempoh yang akan dimaklumkan kemudianlah, mungkin dalam tempoh 2 atau 3 minggu lagi, insya-Allah. Bila mana kerajaan dapat mencapai 90% vaksinasi rakyat Malaysia keseluruhannya lah.
The Communications and Multimedia Ministry KKMM will monitor to ensure the digitalization initiative is implemented according to the phases set and will be achieved by 2025. The commitment is in accordance with the ministry's position in leading the digital and data infrastructure cluster, one of the 6 clusters formed through the My Digital and National 4IR policy to hasten the digital economic development ecosystem and the country's 4IR. Its Minister Tan Sri Anwar Musa is optimistic that the objectives under the 12 Malaysia Plan can be achieved with the cooperation of everyone involved. As of August, through the National Digital Network Plan Jendela, 94% of targeted areas have received 4G coverage, while 5G coverage implementation will begin by year-end. Jendela is progressing as planned in achieving its target of a gradual 5G technology transition. Based on this development, Jendela is expected to provide better broadband services and customer experience across the country while providing high-impact benefits to people's daily life. Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah expressed his satisfaction towards his special visit to the United Kingdom, which ended on Sunday. The 10-day visit was the second of its kind for the King and Raja Permaisuri Agong Tunku Haja Aziza Aminah Maimunah Iskandariah since his ascension as the 16th Yang di-Pertuan Agong. Al-Sultan Abdullah also expressed his pleasure of being able to meet the Malaysian diasporas in the United Kingdom, as it was of a great interest for the King to know of the welfare and development of Malaysians wherever they may be. The session took place at the Malaysian High Commission at Belgrave Square and the Shire, London. Furthermore, His Majesty expressed pride towards the capabilities of Malaysian companies and agencies that conduct business as well as investments in the country. Al-Sultan Abdullah also visited the Battersea Power Station, an iconic project between Malaysian investment companies in London, and the Tun Abdul Razak Research Centre in Brickendbury, Hertford. In the special visit, His Majesty also agreed to receive a visit by Abu Dhabi Crown Prince Sheikh Mohammed Zaid Al Nahyan in London. The meeting saw discussions regarding bilateral relations between the two countries, as well as an increase in relevant fields of Malaysia and the United Arab Emirates. 3 police officers were charged at the Seremban Sessions Court on the charge of accepting bribe amounting to 10,000 ringgit 4 years ago. In the first case, the accused Vincent Yap, who holds the rank of sergeant, and two others, Corporal Muhammad Khairub Yahya and Corporal Zulkifli Halim, pleaded not guilty. According to the charge sheet, the accused, who is now based on the Jempol Police Headquarters, had allegedly, with intent, along with two others, received a sum of 10,000 ringgit from Hanapi Mansor as an inducement to reduce the charge under the Dangerous Drugs Act 1952. Case is set for remention on 28 October. Meanwhile, at the Kota Baru Sessions Court, Police Sergeant Azhari Effendi Basri, who was based at the Jeli Police Contingent NCID, pleaded not guilty on 3 charges of soliciting and accepting bribe as an inducement to free a man caught in possession of Ketum leaves 3 years ago. The accused pleaded not guilty when the charges were read in front of Judge Zaman Muhammad Noor. He was allowed to bail of 8,000 ringgit with one surety. Case is set for remention on 25th October. Coming up, special committee formed to help entrepreneurs in post-COVID era. The World Bank has revised Malaysia's economic growth projection to 3.3% in 2021, down from the 4.5% forecast in June. It said the ongoing movement control orders, increased precautionary behaviour and subdued labour market conditions were expected to weigh down further on private consumption and overall economic growth. However, the World Bank in a statement said the external sector is expected to continue providing support to the economy, especially in the exports of electrical and electronics, E&E goods and medical rubber gloves. The World Bank also said the number of Malaysians living below the national poverty line of 42 ringgit per person per day is expected to decline gradually, and the poverty rate is expected to return to its pre-pandemic level by 2022. The bank said the pace and trajectory of recovery going forward would depend on several factors, namely the national vaccination program and the effectiveness of pandemic containment measures. It said the positive progress of the inoculation drive should alleviate the strain on healthcare system and would allow for the relaxation of containment measures, while it needs to be complemented with robust testing and tracing mechanism to help minimize the risk of future resurgence. A special committee has been formed at the Ministry of Entrepreneur Development and Cooperatives MEDAC to help entrepreneurs in the post-COVID era. Its Minister Tan Sri Noh Omar said throughout the Movement Control Order MCO 3.0, over 37,000 businesses have been forced to cease operations. Majority of them were micro-entrepreneurs, comprising 26,007, followed by small and medium entrepreneurs at 2,738.
Melalui pembentukan task force, pihak kementerian sedang mengambil tindakan segera dalam tempoh jangka pendek di bawah sasaran KPI 100 hari dengan memberikan fokus kepada 3 pendekatan utama seperti berikut. Yang pertama, memulihkan usahawan dan koperasi terjejas melalui bantuan pembiayaan di mana sebanyak 26 program dengan peruntukan sebanyak 7.06 bilion. Ini termasuk dengan moratorium 2.5 bilion yang kita beri kepada usahawan ini. Ini melibatkan, program ini akan melibatkan 192,541 yang akan menerima manfaatnya. Yang kedua, untuk membantu golongan yang hilang pekerjaan, belia dan juga graduan, golongan asnaf dan juga OKU yang untuk beri bidang keusahawanan yang menggunakan pelaksanaan 15 program dengan peruntukan sebanyak 40.4 juta dan melibatkan 2,570 penerima manfaat.
Tan Sri Noh said the data was obtained from the MCO 3.0 impact research conducted from 15th until 28th June. The endurance of micro and SME will also be enhanced by using digital technology adaptation. The Dewan Rakyat today was told that the Bumiputra Ikuti participation requirement was agreed on in 2015 by the Bumiputra Economic Council. Finance Minister Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul Tengku Abdul Aziz explained the decision is in line with the findings of Bumiputra Agenda Steering Unit Teraju study. He also explained that in 2015, the Federation of Malaysian Freight Forwarders had requested for an exemption on the requirement, and MOF in 2016 gave a waiver from the need to comply until 31st December 2020 for local companies with the International Integrated Logistics Services IILS status.
Pada masa yang sama, syarat ini dikecualikan bagi ejen penghantaran kastam bertaraf IILS yang mempunyai majoriti pemilikan asing dan juga syarikat yang tersenarai di Bursa Malaysia. Baru-baru ini, Kementerian Kewangan telah melanjutkan tempoh pengecualian ini buat kali kedua sehingga Disember 2022 supaya Teraju dapat meneliti penyertaan Bumiputra dalam industri logistik ini dengan lebih lanjut.
The Finance Minister, who was answering question posed by Seremban MP in the Dewan Rakyat today, also said this is important to improve the industry's efficiency, increasing productivity and maintaining low basic costs. The Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation (MOSTI) has allocated at least 50% funds to research and development (R&D) compared to 24.5% previously for pre-commercial research activities. Its Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Adham said the 1010 My STIE framework developed is intended to be a catalyst towards realizing Malaysia's aspiration to produce high-impact, competitive programs at the international level.
Rangka kerja ini menghubungkan 10 pemacu sosioekonomi Malaysia dengan 10 pemacu sains dan teknologi peneraju antarabangsa. Untuk rekod, 30 bidang keutamaan STIE juga telah dikenal pasti berdasarkan kekuatan dan keperluan Malaysia.
To date, the 1010 My STIE framework report has been downloaded over 5,000 times by users from over 49 countries simultaneously, proving that it has the potential to become a strategic guide at the global scale. Malaysia's exports remain on an uptrend in August 2021, increasing by 18.4% year-on-year to 95.6 billion ringgit. Chief Statistician Datuk Seri Dr. Muhammad Uzair Mahidin said the double-digit growth in exports was supported by both domestic export and re-exports. Explaining further in a statement, Datuk Seri Dr. Muhammad Uzair said this was the 12th consecutive month of year-on-year expansion since September 2020. He said domestic exports stood at 79.1 billion ringgit and account for 82.7% of total exports, while re-exports grew by 16.7% year-on-year to 16.5 billion ringgit. However, due to the slowdown in domestic economic activity, the month-on-month performance of total trade, exports and imports showed declines of 6.1%, 1.8% and 11.2% respectively. Conversely, the chief statistician said trade surplus increased by 55.5% month-on-month. He said the rise in exports was attributable mainly to the higher exports to Singapore, Japan, the United States, Indonesia, Hong Kong, Australia and China. The Auditor General's Report 2019 Series 2 has revealed that 17 performance audits of 90.635 billion ringgit were carried out involving programs, activities and projects at 13 ministries. Auditor General Datuk Nik Azman Nik Abdul Majid, in a statement issued after the tabling of the report at the Dewan Rakyat today, said 62 recommendations have also been submitted on the activities of the ministries, federal departments and statutory bodies to enable corrective and improvement actions to be taken. He said the National Audit Department had also conducted performance audits on 21 programs, activities and projects involving 26 departments and 10 state government agencies, as well as 11 management audits of state government companies. For that, he said, a total of 130 recommendations for improvement had been submitted. Datuk Nik Azman said the performance audits were conducted in accordance with Section C, subsection D of the Audit Act 1957 and guided by international auditing standards issued by the International Organization of Supreme Audit Institutions. He explained that the audit is to assess whether the objective that these activities, projects, programs were achieved, as well as to assess the extent where public money has been spent prudently, efficiently and effectively without waste and get the best value for money. Overall, the Auditor General said the report found that the implementation of government activities, projects and programs had been done according to the set objectives. The Auditor General's report also disclosed that the implementation of continuous maintenance programs without setting an optimal period for the use of hospital medical equipment by the Ministry Health MOH can be financially detrimental to the government. This is because the maintenance cost has exceeded the cost of new procurement, while the medical equipment is still using old technology with deteriorating performance. Audits conducted from 2016 to 2020 found 19.6% medical equipment aged 20 years and above and worth 641.59 million ringgit, as well as 11.5% medical equipment categorized as beyond economic repair are still being used in hospital. The audits also revealed that 8 hospitals did not utilize the asset and services information system, 5 of which were using other maintenance systems, while 3 others had no maintenance systems at all. As such, it was recommended for MOH to provide a comprehensive policy relating to the management of medical equipment, including the procurement of new equipment, replacement plan, maintenance and disposal to ensure effective management and give added value to the government. Coming up in sports, JDT off to a winning start in Malaysia Cup. Defending champion Johor Darul Takzim JDT kicked off their Malaysia Cup Group D campaign with a convincing 2-0 win over Kelantan FC at the Sultan Ibrahim Stadium in Iskandar Puteri last night. However, JDT's head coach Benjamin Mora was not entirely satisfied with his team's performance. The Southern Tigers were in their element at home, with Brazilian Bergson da Silva converting a spot kick in the 30th minute after winger Arif Aiman Muhammad Hanapi was fouled by Kelantan defender Muhammad Ghaffar Abdul Rahman. Safawi Rashid doubled the hosts' lead in the 49th minute after beating Kelantan's offside trap to slot the ball past goalkeeper Farizal Harun. JDT are now leading the Group D with 3 points and will next go against Petaling Jaya City FC on Thursday. However, JDT's head coach Benjamin Mora felt that his team should have performed better and scored up to 5 more goals based on the opportunities that arose during the match.
It's a matter of a few things that we didn't have luck, but in the second half I think we knew that we could control the game a little better, having more approximations to the box.
In another Malaysia Cup Group D match, Petaling Jaya City FC were held to a 1-1 draw by Sabah at the Petaling Jaya Stadium last night. The visitors, known as the Rhinos, under the guidance of former national coach Dato' Ong Kim Swee, had earlier gone ahead in the 20th minute through a superbly taken free kick by South Korean defender Park Tae-soo. Park Tae-soo unleashed a vicious free kick from almost 40 metres to beat hapless PJ City FC goalkeeper. The Phoenix fought back through striker Darren Locke, who received a long pass from K. Prabhakaran and unleashed a shot past Sabah's goalkeeper Robson Randy Rinning in the 80th minute. There was no further interesting action in the game as both sides seemed content to settle for a draw in the opening game for their Malaysia Cup campaign. Meanwhile, Melaka recorded a comfortable 2-0 win over Premier League champion Negeri Sembilan in the Malaysia Cup Group C opener at the Hang Jebat Stadium. The match was stopped in the 12th minute due to lightning and resumed 25 minutes later, but the delay did not affect the Mausier, who scored through Adriano Narciso and S. Kumaran. The 25 minutes stoppage in the first half did not stop import striker Narciso to shoot Melaka ahead in the 27th minute on a pass by Manuel Ott. Kumaran doubled Melaka's lead in the 65th minute to hand coach Zainal Abidin Hassan's team all 3 points. Melaka will next face Kedah Darul Aman FC at Darul Aman Stadium on Thursday, and their head coach Zainal Abidin hoped that his men would be ready to go against their next opponents. Alright, so that concludes this evening's news at 10. In our top story, probe underway on alleged JPN data leak. Join us again at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon. I'm Shuhaida Arifin. Stay tuned to saluran Berita RTM and have a pleasant evening.